What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here, back at it again, answering questions with
Gersh 1!
And this is For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get those questions first. We also have super things, so if you guys want to support the channel, if you guys like listening to us while you go to work or while you paint or do whatever it is that you do while you listen to us, you can hit us up with the super thanks. And the question that you give us is going to get a guaranteed answer the next time we record. So, thank you. Which is what... did you have one?
This one's from Isaac Han. What is the darkest secret of Warhammer 40K? Is it that the Emperor who made the sudden proliferation of human psychers in the galaxy, which resulted in the Age of Strife? And, if so, did he do it to weaken humans, and as a justification to unite all of mankind?
No, because like in terms of the timeline of based on my understanding, that wouldn't even make sense. Because the Emperor was hiding, and then the Psychic Awakening happened. So there was not even Psychic Awakening. I forget what it's called, but like basically a bunch of navigators started popping up, and psychers started popping up all across the galaxy. And this was during a time when humanity was pretty like unified. It's the Golden Age. The Men of Iron were around, so it's a conglomeration of or a combination of Men of Iron, the Psychers, and then just the birth of Slaanesh that kind of just screwed everything up. So no, it was not the Emperor that made everything topsy-turvy to create the Psychers. I think, in my opinion, the darkest thing that GW has in the lore is that they're racist.
Yeah, xenophobia.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly. That is just a thing that is ingrained into humanity. They literally hate anything that is not akin to them, which says something about that. Because, yes, they went through a golden age and then they regressed and whatnot. But still, when it comes to aliens and even abhumans, they are treated like trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's something that, it's supposed to be grim dark. It's supposed to be there's no hope in humanity and stuff like that. And that's just one of the ways that humanity has decided that in order for us to protect ourselves, we have to shun the heretic, the mutant, and the alien.
Yes.
And even if you don't fit into one of those three, if you don't fit into what they adhere as human, you're cast away.
Yeah. Unless you have power, like Belisarius Call.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not even human, and he's fine. He's just a robot.
You look at the Adeptus Mechanicus, and it's are they really human? They're 95% robotic.
So then that begs the question of is the lore of 40K a little too should it be censored, I guess, or whatever? And really, I'm trying to get you guys to comment because I know most people are gonna be no, obviously not. And yeah, I agree. It doesn't, but there is a lot of elements in 40K, much like Star Wars or magic or not magic, because the story isn't really that big on magic, but other IPs where it's questionable.
Yeah, I see where you're getting at, and it's we're almost losing grim darkness in 40K, but at the same time, it's still kind of there.
Yeah,
we do get certain retcons, and then we have Warhammer Adventures, which is geared towards kids, and it's it's Warhammer Adventures. Of course, it's not going to be grim dark. That's what regular Warhammer is. And then we have the Black Library with their Warhammer Horror, and then you really see the nitty grittiness in there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have when you start looking at even Warhammer Adventures, there's still some element of what's the word? Not racism, but prejudice.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you have the Jukero, you have the Adeptus Mechanicus kid, and so there's different factions, but that's everything in every single faction or in every single IP.
Yeah, because you even see this in Star Wars and stuff like that. These are Gungans or whatever. They get treated differently, or these are the Jawas. Forget about them.
Yeah.
Even with droids.
So I think it's a weird, it's weird. Okay, so what is taking things too far and what isn't, kind of thing. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, comment down in the comment section below if you guys have any input on this. I know most of you guys do. Next question.
This one is by. That's not a question, but we could talk about it. This one's by Boots of Binding Speed. I really want more mentor stuff. That would be great.
Lamentors?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Lamenters, it's a because we asked the question, what, chapter needs more lore, needs more, just more information, more models, more anything. Yeah, Lamenters are a really awesome chapter.
They're the Judy Moody of 40K.
They are, honestly.
What's interesting about them is, well, they are very emo, right? Like they just have bad luck. They go through different things that like
They lament.
Yeah. I don't really care for that as much, but yeah, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. This next one is by Oscar.
Oh.
His question says, "What's your favorite character in any of the 40K novels and why?"
Eisenhorn, I think he's like the most developed. His books, or the 3 books that I've read, you see the progression or the deterioration of what the position of Inquisitor does. And it's crazy because when you think about it, an Inquisitor has all power, right? Like he is trained, psycho-indoctrinated. He should be able to stand up against whatever threat the Imperium has to throw at him. But really, it's the corruption from within that ends up hurting him. That and a demon-bound or a demon host.
Yeah, Demon Host is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that one kind of fucked him up too, like messing with his mind and stuff like that. But, yeah.
I would have to say probably Horus. I feel like it's kind of like a cop-out answer, but like seeing his descent to chaos and him trying to like make sense of things and just stuff that doesn't make sense and it's more chaos taking control. It was really cool to see this guy that like everybody hates because he's like the main dude of like the heresy and like he took down the emperor, killed Sanguinius, but it's like dude was like a charismatic, likable guy at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was the best. He was the War Master.
The War Master, yeah. But the title of War Master, I think that was just too much for him to handle. And like you see the cracks that, even though they're Primarchs, they're not perfect. Yeah,
I was watching, because YouTube has shorts now, and they're really pushing it. So, like, whenever you open up the app on the phone, shorts instantly come up. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. It's kind of annoying. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I got TikTok for that. But the Dave Chappelle came up, and he was, like, talking about how, like, once he got famous, like, he went through his whole phase of, like, he just felt like everybody was attacking him, and it felt like really weird. So he had to go to Africa, right? Like that was his whole thing. And then he was talking about like different people, like I think it was Martin Lawrence, who like also like people were attacking him. He went crazy, and then he was like waving a gun, telling them they're gonna kill me or something like that. So like basically Horus as a war master, all eyes on him. Sadly, those eyes also are the 4 Chaos Gods, and those 4 Chaos Gods screwed him up.
Thanks,
Erebus. But that's the thing. Like he if it wasn't Horus, it would have been somebody else.
And that's crazy when you put all this like devotion and just everything, all your hope, everything into the Emperor, and then the Emperor's like, I'm gonna take a back seat. He is basically the Emperor now. Talk to him, see him, listen to him as if it is me. Then that's a huge like. That's like basically when like kings proclaim that the Pope has said that God has chosen him as king. It's like, well, shoot, God said it. What can I do?
Yeah. Next question comes from Brian B. The Imperium now has a way to communicate and travel without using the warp. How much better does it get? They do? What is it? Because they had like the Dolmen Gates.
Yeah, but that's not really like a reliable thing or something that they use 90% of the time.
Yeah.
I think it's more like, I don't think they've mastered that yet, unless it's like new lore that we haven't heard of. But if they did, I think they would become really powerful.
Yeah.
Faster than light travel with no hiccups is a really great thing because you could send armies where they need to be as soon as they need to be there. Because that's one of the things that plagues 40K. It's like you see a distress beacon, and then by the time you get the beacon, move out to get there, it could be months later. The world could already be ravaged. Like you're there too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why the autonomy of most planetary or most planets is there, and it needs to be. Like they need to have their own garrison. They need to have their own like way to defend themselves from pirates and incursions and stuff like that. There was something else about that too. Another element of like new technology coming into the Imperium is that you have to remember that like, let's say they did find a faster than light travel right now, and it came out in one of the books, like a novel. What ends up happening is that like the Imperium itself and the Adeptus Mechanicus will pull back and make sure that like that innovation gets hit with like stagnation and stuff like that. which is what you saw with there's a Land Raider Redeemer or Land Raider Crusader. That initial construct wasn't approved until like decades later.
Yeah.
So
It was like 1,000 years later or something like that.
yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like the way the Imperium works, even if there was a faster than light way of communicating or traveling, it would be a while before like the Forge Worlds that are building these ships to go into the warp, Geller fields, all that kind of stuff, they'll realize this is going to go obsolete. So like we better kind of like what conspiracy theorists say nowadays of like different like diseases and stuff, like, oh, we already have a cure for cancer. It's just like, but the big business or big pharma,
Yeah, they make too much money off of all that. So
yeah. So, but yeah. And those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. If you guys have a question that we didn't get to, ask again. And if you want a guaranteed answer, hit us up with a super thanks.
that's right. So thank you for all your support. Remember, there is an Audible link down in the description, so check that out. And as always, it's been the Sound Alchemist,
Kirsch one.
and we are out.
Oh, I used to put my freedom